Hello, everybody. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Cloud-Empress, an ecological science RPG. I have played this before. I have not run it. I'm super excited to run it. It was a very fun adventure. And It's based off the Mothership rule set, which, if you've watched our channel before, you've seen we've played quite a bit of Mothership. So the rules will be fairly familiar to you. For those of you who don't know how Mothership works, or those of my players here who have not this way played, uh, it's a simple game. When you want to do something risky, you make a stat check and you roll 1d100 and you attempt to roll lower than your most relevant stat. If you fail, you take one stress. If you roll less than your stat, you succeed and you get to do cool shit. If you are trying to avoid or endure misfortune, you make a save. It works the same way. You roll 1d100, attempt to roll lower than your most relevant save. And if you roll less, you succeed. Otherwise, you fail and you take one stress. You'll see there's a common theme here of taking stress because you also take stress when you draw your weapon. When someone draws their weapon on you, if you inflict a hideous wound, if you kill something you do not need to eat, if you take a wound, if you cast a spell, if you come face to face with strange or terrifying entities, at the end of the day, you all are going to be very stressed out, if I'm doing my job correctly.
I'm
There
already
are
stressed
ways.
out already just by you telling me how stressed I'm going to be. So good job. You're setting the stage
Thank you,
well.
Melissa. You're so reassuring. I appreciate that. There are ways to lose stress. They will not come up whatsoever in this session. It involves things like sleeping peacefully throughout the night, sharing a heartfelt or engaging conversation. Maybe that one will come up. Not if I'm doing a good job. Eating a tasty meal or spending a tranquil hour in nature. I'm not going to let you do hardly any of that. You also have the chance to panic. Uh, and that is when you roll a d20 and you need to be I'm sorry, I'm losing it. Lower over. Jeff knows it. You roll a d20, and if you're over your stress, you do not panic. If you're under, then that's when you start to freak the fuck out. You make a panic check when you roll a critical failure, when you see an ally die, if you witness more than one ally panic, if you experience a devastating setback or loss, or you see a grisly wound or an inconceivable horror. There is an upside to all these stressful mechanics, and that is your attacks will almost always automatically hit. When you're making a difficult melee attack, you make a strength check to successfully hit your target, or when you make a difficult ranged attack, you make a speed check. But for the most part, you're just going to succeed. So you get to just skip those checks and go straight to rolling your damage. Any questions? All right.
Not yet.
How
Later.
quickly are we going to die?
Later.
Kipser, you're dead already.
Oh, all right. Well, where's my backup character?
First roll out of the gate. Sam
We
says
all have
she's
two
been
characters
dead
ready.
this whole time.
All right, let's begin. We are playing the last voyage of the Bean Barge. Welcome to the hereafter, the world where giant cicadas rise in great numbers to feed on the bones of the dead. Monks and villagers dry their corpses in huge burial mounds to harvest a magical energy material called chalk. In the winter, the Imago bury themselves underground doing God knows what. And each summer, a few hundred Imago are spotted. Once in 100 years, the Great Brood appears, where tens of thousands of Imago climb from the deep soil and reduce the land to rubble. Only a few folk are left. A sizable military force or a small city might be composed of only a dozen living souls. Human progress has a bad back. Human ambition has been beaten back. And the land's Christ God left for the stars a long time ago. And this place is no longer their dominion. You trade for what you need. People pass, bargain, and barter for what they need with what they have. Inevitably, someone with ambition will try to bring back old script or new coin, but even young folk are skeptical, having seen so many big plans turn to dust and bone. This is all happening at the center of the psychic universe. You may live simple lives, but don't let that fool you. Those simple lives disguise hidden power. Those that live here take for granted that the very soil teems with psychic power, and the farmers bring it into their bones in the meager food they eat, the smoggy air they breathe, and the muddy stream water they drink. And it's no wonder that the Imago treasure your bones. Because you are in the psychic center of the universe, things are slippery, time and space specifically. The road slips whenever people dare to make a map, and some things slip into our world from cousin realities. Floating water bears can guide couriers. Wanderlings float on the horizon, just barely visible in magic hour. The chalk is the slipperiest of all. It's a miracle soot, a white drug that makes magic possible. You all have chartered space on a ship called the Bean Barge. It looks very much like a green bean. It's got two large sails, one in the front, one in the back, several protrusions and bumps that hold water and storage and cargo, and two large engines underneath the sails. This thing has seen its estimated lifespan a dozen times over. There's no reason that it should still be running or still be usable. But if there was another affordable vessel in the city, you would have taken that one instead. Captains have become more reluctant to travel through the clouds. You all are in the clouds right now, and you are journeying down to the farmlands below. It's a one-way trip. Vessels these days cannot afford to fuel up for a change in course. So as soon as the trip begins, that's it. There's no turning back. As you step aboard, let's start with Kipser here. Introduce your character to the table and share what you have traded or sacrificed to pay for your voyage.
So you would see a smallish figure. It's hard to distinguish what they look like simply because they are wearing a multicolored cloak with almost wing-like patterns, and on their head is just this large mantle, a white sort of mass that has little protruding feelers that have small spikes coming out of them, essentially the head and body of a moth. But you can see below there are the human hands, though they are gloved and you can't tell any color or any of that sort. They are very light and small. And if you listen closely, you can hear a slight humming coming from the cloak itself as they move around and open and empty medicine freezer that they're sorting and resorting their items left for they paid for their way in what medicine they could provide to the ship's crew and work helping kind of keep people healthy.
Fantastic. Let's stick with the top row here. Aaron, go ahead and give us your introduction.
So you see, standing near one of the edges of the ship is this tall, gaunt figure, wearing a long black overcoat and a double-breasted waistcoat of a thick gray canvas, slacks and boots. He's also got gloves on, and he's writing in a journal, an old leather-bound journal. Well, really, what catches your eye is when you look at their face, you see this pale, corpse-like pallor, and you see his left ear has actually been stitched to their head, and his eyes are the dead black eyes of a shark. But probably the most unnerving feature is right between his eyes. There looks like a hole into their skull, a clear gunshot wound. And Kandri-Ridon, known as the rat catcher, is mumbling to him or to themselves, "Gotta get a new body soon. They gotta get some shock, right? I can't believe I had to trade the face paint for this. Damn Voyage, I would have been able to cover up this damn hole. And he keeps putting his finger deep into the hole because it disturbs him that he looks so much like the corpse that he's currently riding.
Fantastic. Did you say what you were trading? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Face paint.
Face paint. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm stuck with that image of just fingering your forehead hole. Just let's move on to Melissa.
So I am playing Samaris. So she is a lordling. And the pre-gen age is old. So basically what you see is a woman who is decked out in duelist's clothes, which probably fit better in kind of a younger period, but she is kind of older. She is a bit stooped, and you kind of wonder if it's an affectation or if she really is sort of that weighed down. She has kind of in all of these different sort of kind of straps and ropes and different things around her. She's got a saber and a dagger and a mandolin and hard cider and just like all of these different things that are just sort of around her belt and around her back and sort of in all different ways. But she looks skittish. And so one of the things that she can do, and basically what she traded to get on this ship, is that she has dead speak. And so she is able to kind of animate freshly deceased corpses. And so the first mate of the ship, his wife had passed away, and he wanted to kind of have a final conversation. And so that's what Samaris traded in order to get passage onto this airship. And so the after effect is disadvantage on fear saves for the next 2 weeks. So I'm imagining that she is just a bit distracted by all of the things that others cannot see for the next bit. So she's sort of hunched over and then just sort of seems startled by shadows and skitterings and whatnot.
Fantastic. I love it. And last but of course not least, Jeff, can we get your introduction?
Okay, so you see on the edge of the ship, his back against the rail, his legs propped up and crossed on top of a large suitcase, several patches and colors and strange stickers about places and things. And periodically you see a kind of a webbed hand, greenish in color, sneak inside of it and pull from it a handful of nuts, which he tosses one up into the air, and you see a long tongue suddenly eject out of this frog-like head and snatch the cashew out of the air and just pull it right back in. And then he's got on his lap a reading console where he's pretending to read, because he probably really can't. He's not that intelligent, but he does make it look like he can do it. And then as he's sitting around, he's in these beautiful, colorful traveling garb, much like his suitcase, just filled with all manner of patches and things, but very, very colorful. No color scheme in particular. It's just all of them in various places, completely erratically. And to get on, well, the suitcase used to be completely filled with cashews, and now there's only a tiny portion of the suitcase, a hidden compartment that he kept for himself. The rest of the cashews went to the crew, along with some gossip and tales from the road. And periodically, as he tosses up a cashew and snatches it out of the air, he tosses one over towards his young pal Tremor to make sure Tremor's eaten properly.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll get you some more.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
And before we jump fully into this adventure, I would like to give a shout out here. These pre-gens were made by a friend of mine. He's the GM who first ran this adventure for me and made me really fall in love with Cloud Empress. His name is Paul. He publishes on Itch under the brand Heart of Arcana. Jeff, I believe, is going to be nice enough to put a link in our Twitch chat there for us. Check out his stuff. He does a lot of D&D 5e adventures. He's got some system agnostic adventures and some Mouse Ritter on there. They're all really awesome and fun to play. And thank you, Paul, for letting me use all of your prep to do this session. It's been great. You all walk up this gangplank onto the bean barge, where you are greeted by Captain Poke. Captain Poke is a very tall person. They have long hair that the front half comes down below their shoulders, and the back half is woven into a thick braid. And they keep it all back with a bright purple bandana. The captain wears pauldrons that are made from giant seashells, and they have chitinous prosthetics for hands and fingers. It looks as if they lost their hands in some sort of battle, but you can see by the way the captain's moving that they have not lost any dexterity throughout this. And they speak in a booming voice. They've always been friendly with you. Well, looks like we finally have the rest of our passengers. We have already ushered a few of our guests down below. You are the last of them. If you could all come on board, we will go through the final preparations before we launch. As you all know, it is Cloud law that every lord must be greeted before the vehicle can launch. We had a last minute booking by a lady Sippa. She is down below in the observatory. I will hand you off to my first mate, Onion. He is very good at what he does. He will take care of you. If you need anything at all throughout this voyage, speak to him. And from behind this very tall captain comes a young, malnourished farm boy. He looks as if he's just reached the age of maturity. He's got the bowl cut that's like split in half, and he is wearing just a plain white shirt, some basic farm trousers, and an apron. And he's wringing his hands with a rag right now. Hey, I'm Onion. I'm your first mate. I'll take care of anything for you. If you need anything at all, just come talk to me. So basic rules and regulations before I take you down to the lady. No one is allowed to have any weapons on board. So if you could just hand those over now, it would be greatly appreciated. Don't everyone step forward at once. I will come to you. And he starts walking towards Tremor.
Now, what do I have to roll to hide a rifle?
All right.
I've got a very big cloak.
Anything that is small or cleverly disguised could go unnoticed with the correct check, which would be a speed. You're not going to be able to hide like a rifle or anything like that. It's just too bulky. If you've got something like a pistol or a knife that you could palm,
I have a
you'd be able to do
dagger
that.
that maybe could be like on an ankle or something. Like a dagger might be small enough.
Oh no.
I've got a wrist-mounted Wild Wild West style Derringer up my sleeve, so I will try to hide that.
Tremor, obviously this is an impossible task, but so this is only flavor. So you can see them rotating a rifle to try to jostle it up behind their between their cloak and their body to try to keep it from sight, but it's very obvious, and you see part of the butt starting to poke out the other side as they turn it behind them.
And Onion just kind of like stares at you with that same customer service smile, like he's watching you like rotate it, and he's like half expecting that you're taking it off. So he just kind of like waits
Rozrog,
do you?
Rozrog next to you, Tremor, is going to be like, no, you heard what he said. No weapons.
But
all right?
okay. And so she'll rotate it back around, unclip the end of it so that it can slide off. And please be careful. It's very important to me.
Oh, no, of course. There won't be a scratch on it. In fact, if you don't mind me looking at them, I will clean them for you. I'll make sure there's not a speck of dust on them.
Look at
that. Tremor will look up at Rezrog. Is that a good idea? Do we trust him?
I mean, we don't really have much choice, and he seems like a fine lad. Aren't you?
Okay.
You're a fine lad, right?
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind telling Captain Poke that when you leave, that would mean a lot.
And this whole time, Rozrag has been talking, including when he told Tremor to not have weapons. He has put his dart pipe in his mouth and is pretending that it's an actual normal pipe. And then it's just a regular pipe the whole time.
All right.
Absolutely. I'll let the captain know that you've been nothing but prim and proper, as he says that.
All right. So Tremor is handing off the rifle, and no other weapons then, Tremor?
That is literally the only thing I have.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a small squirrel fox that rolls up and runs up her shoulder, but not a weapon.
Okay. And then Ratcatcher, you said that you were trying to palm something as well. You're wrist mounted. Or are you trying to like hide it a bit?
Well, yeah.
How did you do on your speed?
It's in his coat sleeve, so he's just not extending it to hand it over. I did okay. I got a 27 under 31. So my speed is not very great, but I did succeed.
So Onion's not patting anyone down. You know, it's an ocular pat down. If you watch the same shows I watch, and you just wrap the cloak a little bit more, and you like gesture to like show that there's nothing else with the cloak wrapped around your arm, and he doesn't think twice about it and just moves right along.
He leans over and he sticks his finger, and you hear the scratching sound of him scratching his skull directly. He's like, "Move along, Onion. I've got nothing about this old meat sack."
Yes, sir. Okay. And lady, is there anything you would like me to take for you?
Well, yes, obviously. And so she has a saber that is, kind of tied to, kind of her belt. What she was able to successfully hide is a dagger, which I'm kind of imagining she, again, as sort of the clothes are a little bit looser than they had been maybe in previous decades. It's like in her boot is kind of where the dagger is. So it's not necessarily as obvious where like the saber, there's no way that's getting hidden. And so she's making a big show of that. And obviously I would follow through with the rules here and not do anything to damage this.
Oh, of course, my lady. I didn't mean to imply anything else. Apologies if I've offended you.
Oh no, you have not. And then she sort of looks behind him a little bit and starts a bit. Are we done here?
Yeah, just one moment, my lady. And you really you said you passed your speed test?
Yes, I did. With a 20.
Yeah. So with the combination of having it tucked in the boot and then redirecting him with the etiquette, he's obviously a little nervous around someone of higher stature. He just moves right along, not going to question you whatsoever, and he moves to Rozrog. How are you doing with your speed test with your pipe?
I have to roll it? I mean, it's just a man with a pipe. What are you talking about? He's just we're not allowed to smoke in here? Is this like a no smoking section of the thing? 37 under 57, so that's a pass.
Okay, yeah. Did you have any other weapons you were handing over?
No. Does anyone actually have more than one weapon?
I don't know. The Lordling did. They had a.
I had a dagger and
just my
saber.
cutting personality.
Oh, okay. Rather lightly armed group. I'm kind of surprised. Okay. And he's carrying the saber, the rifle. I think that's all he got from you. Would you like these two to be cleaned while we're at it?
If you lay a hand on my saber, you will no longer have that hand.
Understood loud and clear. I will put it away and I will make sure it's locked in the cabinet and you'll get it back just as soon as we land. And if you all could just follow me real quick, I'll take you down to the observatory where you can greet Lady Sippa and we can be off. And he just kind of like, he's not really running, but he's got a little skip to his step, that youthful energy. And he just heads towards the middle of the barge, not even looking back to see if you're following. There's a hatch and a ladder that goes down. And he very, very carefully tucks both the rifle and the sword. He's being extra careful not to bump it on anything, watching everywhere he takes it. And with one hand, he starts climbing down this ladder to the level below. If you'll just follow me. Are you all following?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After y'all.
Coming. No, you go ahead. And she'll sort of gesture over to Tremor. Arm for a lady. Do you have arms? Sorry.
Oh, yes, milady. And
so
she'll try to get up high enough.
You have arms.
I just remembered that we have some folks that are.
No, it's great.
But taking the young person clearly needs to help the old lady down the stairs. So she sort of gestures to Rosrog and Kandri to go ahead because she's gonna take a little bit to go down these stairs.
See you down there.
Okay, Rosrog.
Yeah, and it is a narrow ladder that goes down this hatch, and it goes down about 10 feet to the floor below. And it takes you into a cargo hold. It's a very cramped storage area filled with sealed containers, all of different materials, some wooden crates, some metal barrels, some that looks to be a version of plastic or ceramic. And they're strapped to the walls and floors. And on one of these crates, you see an elderly lady. She is wearing a robe with several layers to it, very colorful blues and greens. On the chest of the robe are just a series of pockets, each that have a buckle that can easily be pulled up and reached inside. She's holding a staff that has a circle on top that's adorned with the antenna of a young imago. But her most noticeable feature is that she is wearing a wooden mask. And the thing about this mask is it looks like it was carved specifically to her face. And it has aged with her. It has wrinkled and cracked as she has aged. You can tell she's a very old woman by the way the skin on her hand looks, the way she's hunched over, and by the cracks on this mask. If anyone would like to, they could give me a mind test to try and recognize what this mask represents. Remember, if you fail, you take stress, though. So it's your call if you want to do it or not.
Samaris did roll. She's an old lady. She's pretty sure she recognizes things. She rolled a 13 under 48.
All right.
Question. Because you're
answer.
saying this is very old. Oh, excellent. Then the answer is yes, and I can do it.
What was the question?
Oh, now you want to hear the question. If this mask is old, or would we be able to use skills like mysticism or something along those lines to have advantage on a mind check?
I would allow mysticism on this, yeah.
Cool. I will roll.
And advantage means you roll twice and take the higher result or lower result.
44, unfortunately, is not below my mind, so I will take 1 point of stress.
Okay. We'll start with you taking stress. You don't recognize this, but you can tell that there is some sort of mysticism at work. And the fact that this magic is just being so casually paraded is somewhat frightening. Lady Samaris, you immediately know what this is, perhaps because you have dealt with the upper echelons of society before being a minor lordling. This is a brood sister. She is a religious figure, part of a cult that worships the Imago. And they're actually quite important to upper society because they, when they're younger, tend to be the ones that go out and collect chalk and artifacts and things like that that are highly prized by the lordlings of the clouds.
So she would give this all the due reverence. And I imagine, she's already sort of stooped, but she sort of does a bit of kind of a bow just in that general direction, showing her deference to the presence.
And when you do the bow, the movement catches her glance, and she looks over. Oh, hello, dearie. Oh, it's so nice to have more company. Genmo has been quite boring to talk to. He doesn't say much. And she gestures over to the other side of the cargo hold. And behind some of these crates and storage, you have to like walk around to see this person. He's kind of like hiding in the shadows, which is surprising because he is a hulking figure, rather large, muscular man wearing a great fur coat and a helmet that's made out of a clay pot. And the pot has been broken specifically where his nose and mouth goes, along with two jagged holes so he can see out of it. And when you do finally like look over at him, he doesn't say anything. He just just gives you a grunt of acknowledgement.
What was his name again?
Genmo. Genmo. He would never tell you that. He never says two words to me. He's a young brood brother. He'll learn. My name is Menfa. Isn't this exciting? We're going down to the land. We're going to see the Imago once again.
Oh, to be young and still have all of the wonder of the world ahead of you. How lovely.
Age isn't all that much of a matter. Hell, this is the 37th meat sack that I've worn. Can't even tell you how far back I go.
Well, I tell you, I have seen hundreds and hundreds of Imago, but I would just like to see at least one more before I pass. I feel that I would be able to say my life is complete.
If you are appreciative of the moment that you find yourself in, you will never find yourself wanting.
Oh, well, those are wise, wise words. I see you've spent some time with the Brood Sisters yourself.
Well, absolutely. And I also have spent quite a bit of time speaking with those who have just passed beyond. So I have the wisdom of those experiences as well.
Oh, well, that's quite interesting. Speaking beyond the veil. That's quite impressive. Tell you what.
I know.
And she pops open one of these pouches, and she takes out a piece of chalk. I don't think I'll be needing this anytime soon. And if you can use these abilities of yours, perhaps you could use it faster or more. You could use it more reliably than I could. And she hands you the piece of chalk.
Oh my. Well, I do appreciate this, I am sure. Either myself
think
or
nothing of it.
My travelers could use this. Put it to good use.
Oh, that warms my heart to know that it'll be used well. And at this point, you're looking around and you see Onion is nowhere to be found. He has scurried off somewhere with the saber and the rifle. So now you're just kind of awkwardly standing in this cargo bay, waiting for your guide to come back with an old lady that wants to talk too much and a young man that doesn't want to talk at all. What all are you doing?
Samaris has sort of held up the chalk, and she just sort of looks around at her companions to see if anyone is in need before she pockets it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would happily trade for that piece of chalk there. You see, I'm a little short And should I need to leave behind this particular bag of bones, I need just a touch more chalk to get the job done. So, what kind of
Not to
trade might you like there,
not to tell you
ma'am?
your business, but is that going to shorten the stay in this particular suit? And she's like pointing to the big gaping hole.
No. Once I jump in, all the decay stops for a time. So I'll be good, lest some other new wounds come upon me, then I'll be fine. And then he looks over kind of casually over at Jinmo, almost as if to size him up, as one might size up a new suit. There's always bodies about to be found if you have enough chalk to make the transfer. And that brings me back to my original query. I surely could do with that extra piece of chalk if there might be something that I could do for you or trade with you uh, to get
Well,
it.
if we are going to be in travel together for quite some time, I have found that it can be wise to have a favor owed.
I do like the way you think. I bless you, lady, and you have a favor owed to you by the rat catcher, called upon at any time. And if I don't look like me, well, I'll look like the next me. But you always will be able to know who I am. And he points to the right side of his neck, down his below his ear, and tattooed very crudely are the symbols for rat catcher. Always mark my new body just in case people are trying to find me.
I will be sure to double check when I call in the favor. And she sort of releases. You can say no, but I can imagine the whole time Tremor's just sort of been like, "Can I go now? Are you good? We're done." And so she'll kind of appreciate your assistance.
Oh yeah. And she'll scurry back over to Resrog and kind of like skirt around behind whatever he's now leaning or sitting on.
You make a new friend?
Oh yeah. And little eyes you can see kind of lighting up through the holes in the moth mask that she's wearing.
Well, it's good. It's good to have friends, but don't get attached. You know how things are.
Yeah, we have to get those packages out.
We gotta move on, and most of the time when we come back, the friends we made ain't there no more. So it's best not to get too attached. Is all.
Okay, I got it. 10-4.
Okay. 10. Why are you quoting numbers at me?
I thought that was the thing to say. Is that not the thing to say? Oh, yes, I understand.
Okay. I mean, we can do the 10-4 thing. That's fine. I just didn't know that was the thing that we did, but that's fine. We can do that. Now, 10-4.
Okay, 10-4.
Okay.
10-4?
Like, what's that?
You hear that as Onion just pops up from behind. He came out from a hatch up a ladder. He is no longer holding the rifle and saber. What's 10-4?
Well, there are two numbers. You put them together, and it means affirmative. It means yes, is what it does. It's what,
Oh, that's great. I never got
what-
much of an education.
Oh, well, it's more of a colloquialism, not so much an education. So it's just something you kind of get from traveling around, speaking with folk, and picking up this way and that. That's all it is.
A colloquialism. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's
And
exactly
if the
correct.
four of you will just follow me, I will take you over to Lady Sippa, and we'll be able to launch just as soon as you say hello. And he guides you through this cargo hold. It's a fairly large cargo hold, but it's so cramped that there's just one way to really get through here. And he takes you towards the front of the ship, and there is a door that leads. You can see that it's clearly labeled observatory. And right now it's locked. And he has to take a key and unlock it. Lady Sippa's right inside. All you have to do is give her the proper respects. And then I'll be waiting right here and I'll go tell the captain. And then we'll take off. You all know the proper respects, right?
Of course we do. How dare you assume that we would not?
No, my lady, I didn't mean you. I just it's a question I ask everyone. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll be right over there. And he kind of scurries off. And the door kind of swings open as this bean barge is a little bit rocking in the wind of the clouds here. And as soon as that door opens, there is the overwhelming smell of sickness, blood, and death wafting towards you. There is something wrong here. You take a step in, and your eyes confirm your nose's suspicion. There are piles of twisted blankets and torn sheets that have been bloodied and tossed aside. In the center of this couch, there is a lady. You can tell that she is a lordling, but she is barely able to sit up. She is wearing a antique armor that is rather thin and form fitting that allows her to be more dexterous. You can tell that it's woven of some sort of material, and it's very ornate and decorated. However, there is a piece of this armor missing, and it's the entire left arm. You can tell that she has bandaged herself up as best she could with one hand, but she is missing an arm. So, Melissa, you were weirdly prophetic earlier.
Interesting.
Her face is deathly pale. There is just sweat dripping down. Her breath is very labored. You can tell there's a flicker of her eyes when the door opened, but she just doesn't have the energy to lean up or shift. What all would you like to do?
I'll hold back until Lady Simris goes and
Yeah.
introduces herself, obviously.
I feel like we all just turn and look at Simris and just wait to mimic what she does.
And she was sort of stooped over a little bit, and she kind of straightens up and just like sort of suddenly realizes that everyone's staring at her, and she's like, "Oh, yes. Repeat after me." And so she'll go in and kind of go through the ritual of reading.
Okay. You get closer, and you can see that it's a mortal wound. If it's not treated, she will bleed to death. And you step forward and you begin your greeting. It's probably a series of phrases with callbacks that you've done thousands of times in your life. You get to the first callback. Lady Sippa begins to speak, but just the words fade away. She does not seem to admit that she needs help. She is just as ingrained in this etiquette as you are, and she is trying to make a show of strength that she is able to get through this ceremony the same as you.
So keeping her her grace in mind, Samaris will turn around to the rest of her colleagues, and she'll just kind of indicate that they should just sort of turn around and kind of have their backs to Lady Sippa. And I appreciate the actual facts that I'm seeing. It's fantastic. So Samaris will kind of look around, and so she can do she has a crest of joining skin, which is basically an attempt at healing, which costs a chalk. So she has 2 pieces of chalk, and this would bring her down to 1, and she has to pass a mind check, which none of her stats are above 50, by the way, just to anchor everyone in mothership. So she's got 30, 33, 34, and 48. So mind is 48, but just to say out loud.
Real quick before you roll, just for the audience to understand, a crest is kind of like a magical item that has a sort of magic effect, a spell tied into it. And most crests are immensely valuable. Does it say what yours is? Is it major, standard, or trinket?
Let me get to that in the rule book. I'm going to speak slow while I do that.
No
it
worries.
Is the,
So
where did it go?
the difference between these is that trinkets are fairly common, and they can sometimes be used as payments from a lordling to a cloudling or a farmerling. But the major ones and the standard ones are very much hoarded by the aristocracy. Um, that should be a pun.
It's a trinket. It's a
Aristocracy.
trinket crest of joining.
So this is
Sorry
more of
for
a
stepping over
minor
that.
one, but it's still incredibly valuable. It's the type of thing that no one would ever trade away. And you can use a crest once before it has to be rechalked. So you're using the chalk on this crest, and you'll have to crush up another piece of chalk and prepare it to be able to use this crest again.
So is
Okay.
the chalk that it costs the chalk that it takes to reuse it, or is it essentially a 2 chalk because I have to use one and then crush another one to?
We'll say that you're just going to mark off the 1 chalk.
Okay. All right, and then I'm assuming I have to use that whether I pass the roll or not. So
yes,
let's see how this goes. Thank you, chat, for bits. That's an 84.
84. Okay, so you're taking 1 stress, and we get to roll on the miscast table. So give me a D10 there.
1.
1. Okay, that's good. It was going to go poorly, but you're able to fix the mistake at the last minute. So the spell still goes off, and go ahead and describe what it looks like as this psychic energy is about to get away from you, but you're able to recover and get the spell.
Okay, so this is, and I'm sorry, can you describe her wound again?
She is missing an arm. It was cut off just below the shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's just telling us. Can you describe it?
Okay, so where the arm would be, she's got a little nub here.
Bone sticking out.
It's still kind of telling, but that's fine. Go ahead.
So and this may not be at all, but it's sort of what came in my head. So I'm just going to say that this is sort of how this works. So I am flavoring this in my headcanon that this crest has this, like, I have to put things in it that basically generates this ooze. So, like, when I read Crest of Joining Skin, I think super glue. So I'm thinking about this sort of like natural pasty kind of thing that is basically a bit like a gluey kind of a substance that really should sit for a good period of time to be the right consistency. And like, if you rush it, it's not quite right. And then you kind of have to like spit in it and like kind of get the consistency correct. So I imagine that that's kind of what's happening, is that like it wasn't quite ready to go. And so she's kind of like rushing the use, and the consistency is just all off. It's like you're baking and you didn't quite get the, the proportions of things right. And so it's like, she's like spitting in it and kind of like remixing it and then like spreading it around on this just like bone and everything that's just there.
Fortunately for you, Lady Samaris, you told your companions to turn away so they do not see you messing up the spell and then recovering it. You did recover it. However, Lady Sippa is right there, and she gives you a very feeble sneer as she sees you spitting onto this crest to get the right mixture before you cast the spell. You can tell that she would be livid if she had the strength, but all she can manage right now is just the upper curl of a lip. But the spell goes off, and you are, what's it actually say? You heal them for how much?
1d5.
Go ahead and roll that for me.
Okay. Of course, that's a 1.
Just like trying to jump all over again.
It's okay. You manage to stop the bleeding. She is still very, very injured, but this is enough that she will not die on this voyage, at the very least. There's no color returning to her face. The breathing is still ragged, but she does get out a, "You have my thanks."
Happy to be of service. Everyone, you can. Yes. We can. Yes. After me. We can come back through again. Yes. Eyes forward. Eyes forward. Yes.
I tire of these pleasantries. You may leave.
Razorag leaves.
Lady, let's go.
And she just with that, she was already lying down, but you can see that she sinks down into these cushions even more. The last little bit of energy, her eyes close before you can even turn around, and she just passes out, giving into this pain. The room itself here is like a semicircle, and there are plush couches and porthole windows. Each window is a portal to the clouds in the sky outside, and a sort of a wide panoramic view of the whole horizon in front of the ship here. You turn around, you see that there is a small bathroom attached to this observation room, and otherwise there's nothing else in here other than these cushions and a couple tables to sit and watch the voyage. When the barge would have been made several centuries ago, this would have been a very nice area, very ornate. It's seen the wear of time. And people have, they still clean it, they still maintain it, but you can tell that it's just old. It's from generations ago. You turn around to leave, and as soon as you turn around, you see through the open door, Onion perks up and spins on a heel and starts doing his little skip towards the ladder. He climbs up the ladder in just 2 steps, and he's already gone out of sight. You make your way into the cargo room, and just after a minute or so, you hear the hum of the engines as they fire up and a lurch as the bean barge takes off. There is no turning back now. Is there anything you all would like to be doing here? You are in the cargo room. You see Menfa is still sitting there, and she's just kind of humming, kicking her legs and swaying side to side. You look around, and Genmo is gone. He's gone somewhere else.
Kandri is just writing the encounter down in his journal because he knows that once he shifts bodies, he's gonna forget all of this. So this is a running journal of his most interesting memories. He knows he can't capture everything that he's going to lose, but he tries to write down some of the more highlights.
Oh, sir, are you a fan of wordsmithing?
Someone I'm not much of a fan of wordsmithing, but I'm a fan of remembering a bit of who I am and who I was. So I put pen to
Oh,
paper when the time comes.
I've noticed as I've gotten older, my memory is a bit more feeble. I need to write down quite a few things as well. In fact, and she opens another one of these pouches and pulls out a scroll. Oftentimes, I don't remember the spells that I've been casting for years, so I have to write them down. I don't think I'll be using this anytime soon. Perhaps you would like to read it. She hands it to you.
Well, ma'am, that's mighty kind of you. What do we have here?
You
Glances
you
down.
open it up, and it's a scroll with the levitation spell. It can be used once to cast levitation without chalk. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It does still take chalk.
Well, that is mighty kind of you, ma'am. Is there anything that I can do to repay you for this fine gift?
Oh, no, no, no. I just, I know that I'm coming up on the end of my life and I won't have any use for it. So it's better that someone else would take it and use it.
Well,
Well,
mighty kind.
there's really only one thing I want, and that's just to see the brood of Imago again. I would love to be in the breeding grounds and hear the hum of their wings.
Well, I hope I do truly hope you get that opportunity.
Well, thank you. You are such a kind soul.
That's what some people have said in the past, I think. Can't quite recall, but I'll do my best from time to time to put a smile on a fine young lady's face, like your own.
Oh, and she you can see that her mask actually like moves with her face, and it almost blushes a little bit. The wood turns into a darker brown as she just kind of like does a little sideways giggle. um the rat catcher is now locked into conversation with this old woman, and she is not letting him leave. What about the rest of you? What would you like to be doing?
I think are we free to like roam the ship
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. He
Okay.
took you to the cargo area, and that's like where most of the passengers hang out, but there's nothing that he said was off limits.
I think Rosrog would look around, is like see if the ship has like a mess or like a galley or something like that, a kitchen.
Uh, so if you start moving around this cargo bay, if you head towards the stern of the ship, you would see that there's another door that kind of mirrors the one that goes to the observation room, and that one is labeled galley. Yes.
He will rap really nicely, like knock knock, and then kind of open the door after a beat and see if anyone's inside. I figure Rosrog, two of his items that he starts the game with, one's a suitcase filled with a hidden pocket of cashews, and one is a food processor. So I feel like he's a food guy. So I'm gonna go see what we're working with and see if there's anything I can do to maybe help people, who might be working in there, or to try to, cook up a little meal or something. I'm gonna pull a Mirren.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, I miss Mirren.
Yeah.
So you do the knock knock and the gentle call out, and the soft knock is enough for this door to swing open. It was not latched shut. And you find an empty galley. Empty as in there are no people in it, but it is fully stocked. There's a wall with a built-in stove, sink, and freezer. There's a dozen or so cupboards. As you start looking through them, you see that they're filled with dried goods. The fridge itself is well stocked with frozen meats and soups. There appears to be enough food for a small crew to live on for at least a week. You know that this journey, this descent from the clouds to land, will take about 3 hours or so. So it's likely there was not a planned in-flight meal. But again, no one's told you this is off limits.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get going on cooking us up a little something. Everybody, not just for me. That's not right. Everybody, everybody on the show. I'm gonna make enough for everybody, the whole crew, all that such. I'm gonna get to work on it.
You start going through, making sure you know where everything is, pulling out dried
Very
goods.
generous with everything. No cashews are going into this, by the way. I'm keeping this to myself, but everything else I'm being extraordinarily generous with.
You pull out dried goods, you pull out meat to thaw, you get everything going, and nothing in here is like extremely fancy cookware, but it's all very usable and practical. So you're not at a loss for anything. As you're going through things, there's one more thing that sticks out to you. Above the sink hangs a medical kit that includes the things that Tremor passed on, which includes a roll of bandages, tourniquet, some painkillers, antibiotics, stimulant, and wound glue. I'm assuming that you keep those in there, but you know where they are in case it comes up later. I doubt it will. With some good...
Or I tongue it down with my frog tongue, dump it into my suitcase, and put the bin back up in place where it used to be.
Okay. It's no longer sanitary, but it is yours. And with some good sense or medical expertise, the supplies are enough to stabilize most wounds until proper medical care can be administered.
Seems
what about Tremor and Cimarus? What are you two doing?
Tremor has what was hidden in her cloak, a small furry head pops out. It's got the face of a fox, completely white fur, little black tips of the ears, but the body is more of a squirrel. It's got the little like overly furry fingers and the long climbing toes and the curling tail, but it is the size of a fox with a fox's head. And it is a small little squirrel fox. She calls it Squirrel Fox. And she's pulled out a red and white bandana, and they have turned the ship into an agility course. So she's running ahead, waving this bandana, making it into a circle to jump through, getting Squirrel Fox to jump and climb to the highest bits, and going around looking at anything interesting. Looking interestingly, they'll stop and take a look at if they find the engine or anything mechanical, they'll take a peek at. As they go, but they were essentially just like doing the circuit and learning probably the ship from it, but being a nuisance.
Yeah, and you learn that there's not much to the ship.
Nuisance.
From the storage room, there's just the two other doors, one that goes to the observation, one that goes to the galley. And then there is a ladder that goes up and a ladder that goes down. The ladder goes up to the deck, which is where most of the interesting things are, like the captain's quarters and the bridge. And you have not gone down. Are you going down there as well on your circuit? Where would you go first? How about that?
Well, she remembers the hatch that Onion came out of, and she probably would actually go down there because she would be interested in knowing where her rifle is currently being kept.
Okay.
But they are spastic, because if you've ever seen a squirrel inside a building, they're not well contained.
Neither is Tremor, I bet. No. So you go down the hatch, and it's another 10 feet down to the next step. And you find yourself in a this is more like the bulges on the bottom of the ship that are like kind of beam-like. You find yourself in a half dome like structure where the dome is underneath you with the flat ceiling above, and you're surrounded by 4 escape pods. And then there are 2 scaffolding walkways, one that goes towards the front of the ship and one that goes back. But right now you found that this is like, if there's anything that happens to the ship, these are the escape pods to go to. If you start walking towards the front, you'll see that it's labeled front engine. If you're walking towards the back, you'll see it's labeled rear engine. Very simple stuff there. Also, you would see that there is one more hatch that goes down. This one is locked and sealed.
I'm not going to currently try to break into that. I will run to the front engine.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's not locked. It is sealed, as in tightened. Like you have to.
An airplane door.
Yeah.
Seal. Okay.
Like an air seal. So it's not lock, as in you need a key to get through.
I'm not going to try to open that because I'm not that dumb. I will probably run along toward the front engine and just like have Squirrel Fox like jumping through her arms and chasing after her little bit of cloth.
You head towards the front engine and you immediately notice the temperature rising. It is extremely hot on the front engine of this ship. Even with the door closed, like the heat is just emanating throughout, like it's transferring through the metal.
Is there one of the little circular windows that you can sometimes get in?
Yeah. You look through there. It's more oval shaped, so you can see wide. And there is a spinning chalk crystal surrounded by these mechanical tubes. You know that this would be a chalk based engine.
Oh. Yeah, and she'll not go in there for now, and she'll probably just keep running around, and I'll let Cimaris go.
Let's cut to Cimaris. Exactly. What are you doing, Cimaris?
So she is looking for, is there some sort of porthole or kind of viewing area or something like that?
If you want a good viewing area, it would be the observation room that you just came from. In the cargo room, there's no real portholes or anything like that. It's very simple to just go up the ladder and then you'd be on the deck and you can see for miles.
I'll do that.
Okay. So you go up onto the deck. You were here briefly as you were ushered onto the ship. But just a reminder, towards the front end of the ship is the bridge. also where the captain's quarters is. There are 2 storage tanks. These are dome-like structures on top of the ship that are likely carrying water. And then there's just the hatch that goes up and down. But the deck spans the entire length of the ship, and there are 2 masts, one on the front, one on the back, that have these wide billowing sails. The sails are a single solid piece, but they're kind of translucent, like the wing of a bug, where the light comes through.
So she's looking to just sort of first just get a good view. She's just looking to sort of take in the sights. And then once she's, kind of done that, for a beat or two, she'll see if there's anyone just to strike up a random how's the weather conversation.
Yeah, so the first person you would see running back and forth would be Onion. And it's probably at that point you start to piece together that there are only 2 crew members on this ship. There's Captain Poke and the first mate Onion. And he kind of like slows down as you like start conversing, and he's like trying to speak, but then he's like still planning on going where he is, but then he sees you're still talking and he just kind of turns around. What can I do for you?
Oh, just wanted to let you know that doing great job.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. If you could let Captain Poke that, it would be a huge weight off my shoulders. I'll be honest, it's only my first week. So I'm a little worried that, like, I'm not doing a good job.
Well, as long as you pay close attention to whatever is requested of you, I'm sure you will do just fine. This reminds me of when I was first starting out, and she sort of does some like old woman story of like
So we got
when
2
she started a new job.
old women doing the stories. he You're telling the story, and he's like slowly starting to edge away, but he doesn't want to like break the conversation. He's kind of so hoping that you'll follow along, but something does break the conversation as you hear an explosion coming from the bridge of the ship. A very small explosion, but an explosion nonetheless. And you see a cloud of black smoke billowing out from the door that encloses this bridge. What was that? And Onion turns and just starts running towards the bridge.
Oh my goodness, that is not what we want to hear. And so, is it sort of open where the stairs were that she can sort of shout down?
You would
To
be able to shout down the hatch. Absolutely.
Okay, so she's going to she already bends over a little naturally, and she's going to bend over a little further and lead down. Rosrug, Tremor, Kandri,
Just me down here?
well, gather everyone up. There's been an explosion, black smoke. By the time you gather everyone, I'll get over there to check it out.
Okay. Rosrug likes food. Okay, so I'm going to the kitchen.
And Ratcatcher, you'd be able to easily hear that as well from where she yelled down the hatch.
Well, ma'am, it looks like I need to go attend to some things. I'll be sure to come back around and we can
An
we can jaw a
explosion?
bit more. I'm
If
sure
you
it'll be
wouldn't
fine.
mind, dear, would you check on Genmo?
Absolutely. Where has your manservant gone off to?
I don't know. Sometimes I worry his heart's not in the right place. I don't think he's truly dedicated to being a brood brother.
Well, he looks like he might come around and well, at least his body might be of some use to somebody at some point. I'll go check on him.
Oh, thank you, dear. You're just the sweetest.
He tips his head and heads off to the hatch.
All right. Uh, Tremor, you said you're getting Rosrog?
Yes. So she'll run towards the kitchen.
Food
Only takes you a couple steps to get there.
Rosrug.
Whoa. Well,
Uh, There's been an explosion. Pack everything in your suitcase so they don't see it now. We have to go and help people.
So he stuffs a bunch of stuff in his suitcase. Are there any pots and pans around here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He wants to grab one or two that would be big enough to fit on Tremor's head. And as he's going out, he's like, "We're going to explosions. Put your hard hat on." And then he'll put the pot on top of Tremor's head.
Was this one of the pots that you were using to cook with, or is this a clean one?
What's the difference?
One of them might have hot soup in it.
Well, it's up to you, Steven. You tell me. Is it one of the ones? I haven't really gotten too far.
I would assume it wouldn't be enough to hurt her by any means, but I'm sure it could make a mess.
Dump a bunch of stuff on her.
I know. I wasn't saying that
first. I might not have cleaned it out, but I certainly would have eaten whatever was in there.
It's up to you. There are plenty of pots and pans.
We'll say I put a clean-ish one on.
Okay, you take the less fun choice, but it's all right.
I don't want Kipser mad at me. I want to get through a game once without Kipser hating me. Like, that's my goal for Cloud Empress.
We'll see.
I know, right? So far, so good. I feel
so far, so good.
Okay. All right. So the three of you make it up to the hatch, but we're going to focus on Samaris a little bit because you have a head start. So you make it over to the bridge of this ship, and you see that there's smoke that is billowing out from underneath the door. What would you like to do?
So she wants to first just sort of I'm imagining that she has kind of something that she uses to help her her walk, some type of sort of a cane or something that she just sort of is going to bang on the door. Is anyone in there? Is anyone in there?
You bang on the door and you hear coughing and hacking and wheezing, but no verbal response whatsoever. You can tell there are people in there, but they're not responding to you.
She'll try to open the door for 33 strength.
It comes right open. It was just closed. So you open it,
okay.
And there is a cloud of smoke that rushes over you. And for here, I do want a save. This is going to be probably fear.
Okay, so fear, I have a 65 for my fear saves, but because I had cast my Dead Speak, I have disadvantage on fear saves for 2 weeks. So, yeah. So let me roll this. I would like to imagine, though, that she really thought the door was locked. So she was like, with all of her like old woman power, trying to like pull it open, thinking it was locked. And then she just kind of goes a little bit flying as it opens more easily than she thought. Was it pull or push, by the way, the door?
Pull.
Okay. So my first roll is a 50. So let me try that again, because that's a pass. So second is a 40. So either way,
okay. So you keep it together. You push your way through this cloud of smoke, and you start hunching down, trying to get below it. Fortunately, as soon as the door opens, the smoke begins to dissipate, and you see there are 2 people in here. There's Captain Poke and there are Genmo. Both of them are on the floor hacking and wheezing, and they appear to have breathed in a lot of the smoke. As soon as you smell that smoke, you know that there's like it's this toxic smell, like the electrical burning. There are fumes. It could be that if they were trapped in here for too long, they would have been completely incapacitated. They're still in trouble right now. What would you like to do?
And so basically she's going to kind of take her walking stick and sort of poke it out, kind of in hitting like one of them in the hand. So whichever one is closer to the door, grab this, I'll pull you out. Grab a hold, I'm poking you right. Just reach your hand up.
You poke Captain Poke, and Poke grabs the walking stick, and you're able to poke out. Captain Poke grabs onto the walking stick, and they still have their awareness to them, but they're weakened and winded by this. and they're a big person, so it takes a bit of strength to pull them, but they're working with you as well. You get them out. Around this time, the three of you would catch up as well. You would see Lady Samaris pulling Captain Poke out. You would see that there's still tons of smoke in this bridge. What all are you doing?
You see,
Well-
when you come up, you see Samaris, and she's just like walking like forward, like pulling this her walking stick behind her, and she's just like trudging like she's climbing up a mountain. I've got this one.
Is there another one in there, ma'am?
Yes, the one that didn't speak with the pot on his head.
Ah, yeah, that would be the manservant Genmo. Well, I'll go fetch him. And
You go in there. At this point, we can say that most of the smoke has cleared out. It's still very much in the ceiling of this room. And you see where the source of the fire came from as well. What appears to be like a very old-fashioned radio is completely destroyed. The metal and electronics have kind of like folded in on themselves, and there is just fire smoldering still inside there. You go to reach for Genmo, and he gives you a rough shove away as he tries to push himself up, but then he starts staggering and falls down again.
son, I don't recommend you lay hands on me again like that. Now, your friend there, Lady Mempha, asked me to check on you. Now, would you like me to pull you out of here, conscious or unconscious?
Oh, get me out of here.
All right, then, give me a hand and don't shove me off again.
And this time he takes your hand, and he just really pulls on you with his massive hulking body. The weight of it just kind of like, you're strong, you hold yourself up, but it's still, you can feel just how muscular and dense he is. And he pulls himself up, and with your help, he's able to stagger out of this bridge, where he then falls down onto the deck and just begins coughing up a lung right next to Captain Poke.
Hey, Captain, what the happened to that radio in there?
I don't know. I was flying the ship, and next thing I know, it exploded. It was, I don't know. We weren't using it.
Was this fella here helping you?
I was watching. What, you trying to say something?
Son, if I was going to say something, I'd just say it to your face.
I was watching.
Well, what'd you see then?
I saw the captain flying the ship. Next thing I know, the radio exploded.
Can Rosrog go look at the radio and see?
Absolutely, yeah.
Tremor,
Most of the
Tremor would
smoke's
also
gone by
like
now.
to.
You cover up your face a little bit and you duck down. You don't have to worry about the smoke at all. So let's call this a mind test. And with Tremor helping, get advantage.
I was also.
Can I use tinkering? Would that apply in this particular
Absolutely.
case?
Tinkering would be great for this.
Sweet. All right. So Rosrog, Tremor, we're looking at it. We're peeking.
I think we're in.
Oh, there's little wires here.
And I mean, there's the big wires there, and there's the.
But the magic smoke got out.
All right, so I got advantage. All right, with the advantage, I pass 15 under 30 mind, but then plus 10 for tinkering. So,
all right, you can tell it's a very, very old radio, and accidents can happen with old electronics, specifically ones that have been repaired over and over and over. This is sabotage. It's clearly sabotage. It looks as if one of the panels was bent out, whereas the rest of the explosion kind of sucked everything in. This panel was bent the other way, as if someone ripped it off. You can see that there's a connector where a small piece of chalk would power the machine. That chalk likely was tampered with somehow and caused a slip in reality, kind of like a gravity well that just pulled the whole thing in and caused the explosion.
Now you see this, right? You see this, ain't?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want you to pretend like everything's fine. I think we got ourselves a saboteur on board. So
Saboteur.
just pretend like here you go, just follow my lead. It's a darn shame the radio broke down like that in totally normal fashion and not even remotely suspicious. Isn't that
Yeah.
right, Tremor?
I mean, it looks like it was just working and then it just didn't work.
I know.
With no reason or logic.
Well, that's just the way sometimes with this kind of machinery. Things just break down for completely legitimate and not remotely suspicious reasons.
Not at all.
Okay.
Samara slowly turns around and looks at the two of you. And she just sort of like, you just get this like old woman frown. She doesn't say anything though, but she just sort of gives like an old woman frown, like, well,
no reason it blew up at all.
Complete normal.
Completely normal.
How you, and so she just kind of looks at you and just says, you know, as we all start to age, we stop working the way we're supposed to.
Yep, that's that. Oh,
sounds right.
There's going to be more. I was getting drowsy, but yes, that's right.
All right. So you started this journey on the beam barge at 20,000 feet. And this is an area of the atmosphere called the wide open, where these bluish, almost white skies are speckled with cloud rigs that you all came from. You have now descended below that 20,000 foot mark, and you are in the spread. And this is a curtain of clouds that it's the color of mayonnaise. And there are pockets of yellow acid clouds that are dangerous, but avoidable. As Poke was pulled out of the bridge, this ship is no longer being piloted. That doesn't mean it's going to crash immediately, but it begins to just sway and pull and list to the side. The deck takes a slight angle. And as soon as that happens, Captain Polk, still coughing and wheezing and hacking, starts scrambling their way back towards the bridge to take control. That's not the most concerning thing, though, because as it takes this angle, you can see down below a little bit easier, and there is smoke. Pillars and pillars of smoke that are rising somewhere deep below. If one of you looks over the edge, you see chaos down below. There is a flying battle brigade of cloud ships, and they are being devastated by Imago. They were flying in formation, and you see that there are hundreds of these Imago swarming onto these ships. As you're watching this, you see one of the ships, the Imago, are just pulling at the engine, at the sails, and it begins to just slowly fall until it just drops and plummets out of the sky in front of you. You hear the Wilhelm scream even over this great distance. And not only is this very concerning, but you see the fact that there are hundreds of these Imago means the situation is even worse than it looks, because the Great Brood has arrived 10 years early. Normally, there's only a few hundred Imago that come up each summer, and then the Great Brood arrives where thousands come up. For there to be hundreds in just this swarm, you're very much in danger here.
Rosrog, I know where the escape pods are. We need to go get our stuff and get out of here.
Okay, I got a bunch of food and some medical supplies.
Great.
Okay.
They're down below in the hatch, and I didn't check the back engine. That might be where our stuff is.
Okay, let's just make a very natural retreat. Well, you seem to
Totally
have everything
natural.
under control here, Captain. We'll leave you to it. Let's go.
Yep. Aye.
Okay. And you see that she is they're furiously pulling on the steering yoke, trying to right this ship. And they do. They manage to right the ship, so it continues the descent in a safe, controlled manner. But you also see what you're descending into, whereas Captain might be more focused on the navigation right now.
Captain, just to give you a little heads up there, looks like the Great Brood is a wee bit ahead of schedule, and There looks to be a swarm of 100 Imago down beneath us, tearing apart a fleet of cloud ships. So we might want to give that a pretty wide berth if that's something you can arrange. Otherwise, we're going to have to abandon this ship.
This is not the time for jokes.
Do I look like
I've got a bridge on fire. The ship is listing. We don't have time to joke about the Great Brood. And
son,
Captain,
look at this dead face here.
the captain does not look at your dead face. They do look out the porthole and go look down at the smoke rising, and fear rises. That's actually a good point. I want fear. No, this will be reality checks from all four of you as you're faced with the reality of the Imago slipping through 10 years early.
Now, I did see we got a lot of bits earlier. How does mothership and bits work?
We'll say bits give you plus 10 on your check. So like if you needed a 45, you use bits, you need a 55. Or like a minus 10 to your roll.
Okay. Well, I would like to use that. Thank you.
Let me say, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to spend enough bits to get a success on this. And not only did I fail, I got a 66. I failed with a critical failure.
Critical fail. Okay, so you might be panicking here.
I could be panicking.
Swear to God, I also rolled a 66.
Is that a failure for you as well?
Yes, it's a failure. Yes. It's very much a failure.
I got a 41 and my reality is 38. I failed by 3 points.
All right, and Samaris.
Samaris also failed a 71 over 34.
This makes sense.
So two of you are just taking stress from the failure. The other two of you need to give me D10s for the panic checks.
Okay. Is it D10 or D20?
D10.
Is it D10?
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the results. So D20. I'm sorry, I skipped to the wrong chart. D20, and you need to roll above your panic or above your stress.
Or
Jeff was teaching me about it
roll
earlier
a natural
this stream.
one, and everything's really nice right now. If you do that,
ooh, fingers crossed.
Because a one on the panic table, you get like a bonus. Nope, I got a 6. I'm still good though.
I got an 8 in total.
Okay, so you both pass your panic test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're at the very beginning of the list. You haven't built up enough stress. You're able to keep it together, but there's definitely fear as this new reality is. You're coming to terms with it.
Captain, I'm here to tell you, it's going to be mighty hard for me to find a new meat sack if I'm plummeting out of the sky. So you need to make a wide berth of that problem down there.
Can do that. And you see they start pulling on the yoke and the ship begins to list the other direction as you begin drifting starboard side instead of port. Tremor and Rosrog, you were trying to make a hasty retreat.
Trying to like maybe motion to our other two, because we been traveling together before, or did we just meet on the ship?
It's fair to say you did. That's fine.
Okay. So we'll be making sort of motions to like come over and talk to us away from Cap, and
Samaris is slowly punching in your direction, like fast for her, but still,
You mean our deception wasn't all that deceiving?
Mm-hmm. So then Roswell could be like, I don't know if you all picked up on it, but someone intentionally sabotaged that radio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't no accident. We made it sound like it was, but it wasn't.
And the escape pods are down the hatch right in the cargo hold where we were hanging around.
I got a bunch of
There's
food and some
4 of
supplies.
them.
We can get the hell out of here right now.
Well,
your food is always so delicious. If that's the last thing I eat, I will be happy.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
You do make some tasty victuals, but my only question is, those escape pods, they just drop right out of the belly of this there thing. And if they drop right out of the belly, we're going to drop right into that swarm of Imago right beneath us. I think we might be better off seeing if the captain can steer us clear before we abandon ship.
That's a good point. That's why we brought us together. 4 heads better than 2.
I gotta say, I'm thinking that Jinmo fella there. I guarantee it ain't the captain or Onion. Well, I don't think it's Onion who's doing no sabotaging, but that Gimbo, that fella, he's got some things ain't quite right inside of that pot on his head.
It could be.
Well, and
could be.
the lady, not that these things couldn't be done with one arm, but she is down an arm, so I think we can rule her out as well.
That's fair.
Maybe, but it looked like it was like all magic, like, you know.
Yeah, you did
That's
some
what
really good
kinda
magic.
caused. It wasn't like someone hit it with a hammer.
Oh, I see. Arm not required, maybe.
Mhm.
All right. And as you all are discussing your options here, I am cashing in a complication that the audience so nicely gave us. So with this adventure, there are events that happen that become increasingly dangerous, and I'm just rolling for the next event as the complication. And as you all are discussing your options, you see Genmo is getting himself recovered as well, starting to stand up, brushing himself off, and you hear the thump, 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 thump of artillery as one of those battleships down below is firing at the Imago swarm, and it's headed in the direction of your ship. The bean barge is rocked as some of these shells pepper into you, and you're at such distance that they're not doing their full damage, but the ship still violently shakes. I need body checks from all of you to stay up. And this
15.
will result in HP if you fail.
15.
Or in injuries.
98.
Oh, geez. 1.
Okay, that's a success. 98 is not,
Wow.
though.
29 under 31
By the skin of my
All right.
frog-like teeth.
So the old lady is the only one that goes down here, and she is taking 6 HP. As one of these shells explodes dangerously close to you, you go flying backwards from the force of the impact and the explosion. Some of the shrapnel, the ceramic of this barge, slices at you. It hits you hard. The barge itself is maintaining its altitude. It's not falling out of the sky. It has taken a hit, though, and the barge can only accrue so much damage before it starts to fall out of the sky as well. If anyone has seen Nausicaa of the Wind, you know that these flying barges fall out of the sky left and right. I don't think there's a single one that makes it to the end.
Samaris is just like her feet slipped out from under her and she's just like flat on her back. Like her walking stick is just sort of like up in the air and she's just like, ow. Ow.
Ma'am, I gotta say, that looked like a heck of a hit there.
Yes, that these old bones have seen some duels in their day, but no duel against
Samaris,
Okay,
yeah,
we're
that's
gonna get
great.
hit again.
Samaris,
Yeah.
let's go.
And you hear the thump, thump, thump as
Ratcatcher,
more artillery
I
goes.
respect
Fortunately,
your no, let's just look. I know where the escape pods are. Please.
Fortunately, the
Captain,
salvo goes
hard to the
wide and
hard.
does not hit the bean barge, but you still hear the thump, thump, thump as this fleet below you is trying to fight off the Imago. Captain, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I was calling him like I don't know. Roswell doesn't know ships, so it's just like hard to the port something.
Hard to the port.
We're going starboard, and you see them pulling on the yoke even more,
Well, that's
and
the
you just start
problem right there.
listing.
Is you're going. No, you don't go starboard. Yeah, well, fine. I guess you do it your way.
Captain, is there anything we can do to help you steer this thing, get us out of this particular
Let me
Whodot we found?
focus.
Got like countermeasures or something we can drop or whatever.
I'll put our weapons.
This is a barge. I need to focus on piloting the ship, please. Onion, where are you? Onion! And you hear scrambling from the back. Yeah, Captain, what can I do? Get them out of the bridge. Okay, Captain. So if you all could just follow me to the cargo room where we'll be nice and safe, and we'll get through this just fine.
Okay. The captain also said we should get our weapons back now.
I don't care. Just leave.
Great.
Okay.
For me
Yeah.
to-
So if you will just come this way, and this time
Yes.
he is like beckoning, he's not leaving without you. He's trying to pull you along.
A hand? A hand? Samaris is just kind of like
yes,
lying on her
let
back.
me-
Like with it.
And she'll try to, Tremor will pull you up slowly.
Onion will rush to help you as well, trying to speed this along, guiding you all towards the hatch. It's a lot harder to walk across the deck now with the ship at an angle, but it's not so much that you're like sliding down or anything. You're still in a controlled descent. The captain does still have control of the ship. You make it to the hatch where you start climbing down the ladder. Again, it's awkward because the ladder is almost at like a 30-degree angle, but you're able to get down it just fine, just being careful. Okay, you all wait here, and I'll go get the weapons. And Onion,
Where's
Yeah.
Genmo at?
Genmo. Good
Because I'd have been
question.
looking for him as we were going across the deck.
If you were watching for him, I'll give it to you. He would have started following, and then down the hatch, he would not have followed down the hatch.
Well, and I turned back. Genmo, I do believe the captain asked us to come on down here. So why don't you come see to your friend Miss Mempha?
She'll be fine. I need the fresh air.
I don't think so, son. Why don't you come on down the stairs?
Let's make a check for this. Are you trying to intimidate? It feels like you're trying to intimidate.
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm trying to.
Okay.
I
Let's
don't
call
want
it
to
strength
shoot
then.
him, but I probably will. Strength? Okay. Strength is good.
Yeah.
Strength is my 75 stat. So,
You have a 75 stat?
yep. Now I got an 11 on the dice.
All right, 11. That's a critical success. I'm going to give you this. Genmo is sizing you up the same way you sized him up earlier. And you see that he pulls this fur cloak across, and he looks as if he's about to reach for a weapon, and it hits you. This is not a brood brother. This is a treasure hunter. You don't know why he's disguising himself as a brood brother, pretending to be one. You know, treasure hunters are wild cards. They tend to be they tend to have a loose grip on reality. They're not afraid to take risks. They're dangerous. They always have their own motives above everyone else's. He pulls back this cloak, and you can just tell by the way he's posturing, by the way he's acting, behaving. But then he puts the cloak back. He thinks better of it. Fine. And he begins going down the ladder.
That's a mighty wise decision there. Of course, and I wouldn't mind making you number 38, but that's for another day.
He gives you a grunt of dissatisfaction, but again, man of few words, doesn't say too much. He gets down on the barge, and Menfa is immediately, "Oh, Genmo, I'm so glad you're okay. Oh, Kandri-Ridon, he's so sweet. Thank you for bringing him back to me. What was that? There was a bit of, I think they call it turbulence. Was there turbulence?"
Well, Lady Manfred, to be honest, there's a naval battle beneath us. There's a whole swarm of Imago that are destroying ships, and the artillery fire is accidentally striking our barge as we descend. The captain is trying to save our lives.
As you say, swarm of Imago, her mask, the eyes widen. You can actually see her actual natural eyes underneath. Oh, my Imago here! Oh, this is. Genmo, could you help me up the ladder? I would love to see them.
Ma'am, I must say that with the deck tilting as it is unlikely that you'll keep your footing and would probably find yourself passing through the swarm as you go over the side. So I strongly recommend you stay
Don't
down
you worry
here.
about me. I'm a lot more light-footed than I look.
I believe you, but the captain also did request that we stay below deck so he could concentrate on saving the barge and our lives.
And at this point, Onion jumps back up the hatch with the saber and the rifle. That's true, ma'am. The captain requested that we stay off the deck. And she just, like, the enthusiasm just drains from Menfa. Oh, this is so sad.
Well, I tell you
Isn't
what,
this
ma'am.
sad?
I think once we pass beneath them, we could probably go back up on the deck and you could look up at them, which would probably be a better view anyway.
Oh, I hope so. I would hate to miss them. Rosrog, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, Onion. What's the alternative escape situation? Like, say the ship were to go down. What do we got?
So
What are we
our best plan for safety. This is great. We should talk about safety and evacuation. Everyone should have a plan. So our
Okay.
best plan is that the ship does not go down.
Okay.
That's plan number one.
Let's just say that would
Okay.
bad things come to pass. What's plan 2?
Plan 2 is not a good plan. We do have 4 escape pods.
That's good.
They don't all work. And the last
bad.
time they have been maintained, so Captain Poke told me that it was over 100 years ago.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a plan
Fortunately,
3?
there sort of is a plan 3. We could call it 2.5. There is a thopter below the bean barge, and that flies great. It flies really well if you know how to fly it.
Is it like driving or operating other machinery and
Yeah.
such?
Yeah, I mean,
it should
how
be
hard could it
fine.
be? I think I know the basics. Problem with that plan, the thopter only has 2 seats.
Are they big seats?
No,
Okay.
we might be able to
Okay.
fit 3 people in there.
Okay. Well, there you go. So someone takes a couple folk take that, and then someone who knows how to fly, like myself, I'm very good at it, fly all the time.
I'm small.
Yeah, and Tremor's small, right?
Yep.
Tremor's small.
Very small.
Yeah. So
So I think we would need the captain to fly it though, because it's the captain's ship, and the captain knows how to fly it.
But the captain's got
Also-
to go down with the actual ship, though. It's right there in the Seine, right?
No, you're absolutely right. Slight problem though. The captain has the ignition key.
Okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at them escape pods, see if I can make sure they're in proper working order. If someone wants to maybe find a way to liberate that ignition key from the captain,
The captain said not to be on deck.
Well, he also probably said, I sure hope we don't get shot at this time around, and yet we are. So sometimes things happen that you don't want to have happen. But we're taking some of the planning off official. He's got to focus on steering the ship now. You understand, son? And so we're just coming up with alternative plans. All right. So I'm gonna go take a look at them escape pods, making sure they're working. All that works. Okay. How's that sound?
Onion is a leaf in the wind. If there's a breeze, you'll be able to blow him the direction you want. So as soon as you say this, like
that character,
if you give him orders or directions, he will follow them as best he can.
see if you can grab that key for us, just because we want to be prepared in the case of the situation that might need it. And I'll go take a look at the escape pods.
I'll see if the captain will give it to me. And scurries up the
I'm
ladder.
going to go look at the escape pods as well, because I think I can also help.
We're gonna try to fix them.
All
We're
right.
gonna try things we're gonna do.
Yeah. So Tremor and Rosrog are going down. Tremor, you've been there before. It's just 10 feet below you.
Yeah, right here.
Ratcatcher, Cimarus, are you going with, or do you want to stay up here?
Yeah, Ratcatcher's going to keep his eyes on Genmo. He keeps his mystical senses attuned because he does not trust this treasure hunter. So he wants to keep eyes on him.
Samaris would consider it her responsibility to see what is up with Lady Sippa, because she would need to be part of our escape plans.
Okay. So let's start with Cimarus. I think that makes most sense here. So you go into the observation room, and you see Lady Sippa's doing better. With the rocking and the tilting of the ship, she's managed to prop herself up, and she looks as if she's actually getting ready to stand, as if she is walking. Oh, good. You're here. Come. Help.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure if this information has come to you yet, but the Imago
I could see, and she points
arrived.
to with her one arm. She points to the portholes, and it's a wide panoramic view of all the chaos and destruction down below. You hear the thump, thump, thump as more artillery is going. Fortunately, not your direction.
Yes, quite unfortunate. The escape options are limited, but you of course will take priority in this plan.
There's a thopter. You and I will take it.
That is known information. There are others that are also looking into that as well. But of course, lady, I will do my best. Let us move in that direction.
You do not understand. You and I are leaving now. Grab my rifle. And she gestures to the bathroom in the observation room.
Yes, of course. And so she goes to the bathroom, grabs the rifle.
You find a very ornate antique rifle. This thing is like a cannon almost. It has an ancient text engraving on it where it reads Hound Catcher.
Oh, well, if we had more time, I would enjoy hearing the story that follows this weapon around. But since we do not have time, so she'll walk around to the arm.
If you get me in that thopter, it is yours.
Oh, well, yeah. So she walks around to the side where there is an arm that she can support her and kind of throws the rifle up over the other shoulder and starts walking her out.
It will be just you and I that leave. Am I understood?
I have heard you loud and clear.
All right, let's cut to Ratcatcher. I'm going to give you Genmo looks like he's waiting for his moment. And I'm going to just pass your critical success on from earlier. You can tell that he's eyeing it, but you just keep your eyes on him the entire time, and he knows he does not have a moment. He's locked in place. Menfa is there, and she is just chittering away her disappointment and her sadness at all of this. But she's not pulling you into the conversation as she can see that you are focused on Genmo here. Cutting to Tremor and Rosrog. You go down, you look at these escape pods. You see, as you take a closer look at them, let's go ahead and get a mind check from one of you with advantage.
You want to roll this one?
Sure. I do also have tinkering. We share some skills.
Okay. So I think you can only have advantage once. So you just get advantage anyways.
Yes. Okay. So that is so that it would be a fail at 49 where my mind is 31.
Okay. That was with advantage. It was 49.
Yes, I rolled twice.
Okay. You're gonna get one thing. No, you're gonna get two things. Okay, I'll give you three things. Why not? With the failure, you're not getting it all. So the escape pods are numbered 1 through 4. We're gonna skip number 1 for right now. Number 2, missing. The launch date is flashing on the terminal as you click on the terminal, and like the actual hatch is there to enter it, but the pod, you can tell it was ejected according to the terminal 50 years prior. There's also a note on the terminal that says all passengers on the escape pod died upon impact.
Oh, that doesn't seem good.
That's not promising.
Escape pods 3 and 4, however, appear to both be intact and operable. As you're going through, it looks as if each escape pod could comfortably fit 2 people, uncomfortably fit 3, dangerously fit 4.
Okay. We could work with that. We could work with that. Okay, that's
that'd be enough people.
up to 8 people and preferably 6 that we don't dislike. Okay.
I don't think we need everyone.
That's
rolling
true.
back
We'll
to
take
escape pod 1.
folk.
It's been sabotaged. The digital terminal has been smashed. Wires hang out from a broken keypad, and there is a large piece of metal wedged into the locking mechanism of the door.
Can we
There's a lot of sabotage going on here. Question,
is.
Stephen. Was
Yes.
this one smashed like this the first time I was here? Would I have noticed that?
Good question.
We'll say with the failure, you don't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
Did you take stress for that too?
Yes, I definitely remember to
Yeah.
do that. This is my I'm telling the
time you
truth
fail a roll.
voice.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah,
you fail a
yeah,
roll.
yeah.
Is there a way we could dislodge that metal to see?
I
if we
will
could
allow
get
you to make
inside?
another check specifically to try and fix some of this. Tinkering would apply. We'll
Okay.
call this mind.
Can if we work together again, do
Mhm.
we get advantage or?
You get advantage just from the tinkering
Okay.
for having the skill.
Is that different for Cloud Empress? Normally, it's just like a plus
Yeah,
10 to the
yeah.
roll. Okay.
For Cloud Empress, if you have the
is.
skill, it gives you advantage.
Oh, nice, sweet.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Oh, I did that wrong earlier. All right, so well, that's a pass on the first one with a 15. But let me see if I get a crit.
But we do have the audience dice.
Fail on the second one, so 15 pass.
15. It's difficult. It's wedged in here through brute force. You're able to use leverage. You find like a crowbar or another piece of metal, a pipe or something, and you just work at it, pop it out. As soon as you pop out this piece of metal, the actual door, it's broken because of that, and it swings open just as a thump, thump, thump salvo rocks into the bean barge once more.
Uh-oh.
You all reach for the railing and the scaffolding. The door of this escape pod flies open from the momentum, and inside this escape pod, you see a pile of bloody sheets in the shape of a body. The rocking of the ship, the sheets move and reveal Lady Sippa's face.
I thought so.
And that's where we're going to end the night. We're going to end
Oh,
the session
no.
right here.
Oh.
Bit of a slow build here. And we're going to...
first up next time.
yeah, that's where we'll be starting.
Yeah,
but
the xenomorph.
we're into the deep end now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah, as
All
soon as
right,
you
I
said
hope
bloody
you guys had
sheets,
fun.
I'm like, oh,
yeah.
no. I know who is associated
was
with
totally
bloody
fun.
sheets.
I really enjoy Cloud Empress. I love the
I do
world
too.
building and the setting that goes into it.
The setting is
Mhm.
very cool. I really
Yeah.
It's
like the
amazing.
setting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the art as well. I really
So
enjoy the
good.
art in the rule book. You
Mm.
can kind of see we're using some of it as backgrounds. It's just very evocative. I really enjoy it. And Mothership's a good system to be based on. So it's been a lot of fun. Let's do some shout outs. Aaron, what do you got going on with Garblag?
So many good questions and so few good answers. I believe that Pete will be back for some more heroic deeds, which did successfully fund Kickstarter. So everybody who backed it, thank you so much for Pete on Pete's behalf. I believe he'll be back on Thursday for that. I know there's some transition. We're getting ready to start season 3 of Dune, the House Dargouche. But I don't think that's going to start next week. So just check over on the Garblag Discord for what's going on. There will be no Marvel Multiverse tomorrow because I have to be on base doing stupid things with stupid people. But come back the following week, and we'll be back to the Rank 3 adventure then.
Awesome. I'm going to do a quick shout out again to my friend Paul with Heart of Arcana. Go ahead, check out his stuff. He's a good person, despite being associated with me. I know that's a red flag for a lot of people. But he's a cool guy, and he deserves the love. Also, I'm going to shout out myself while I'm already talking. I'm making my own Weird West tabletop RPG called Huckleberry. I'm really proud of it. I've been playing it with a lot of the people here on this screen and a lot of other people. We've got a playtest as soon as tomorrow, and it's open for anyone who joins our Discord. All you got to do is click on the little cowboy hat when you're accepting the rules. That'll give you the playtester role, and you can join any playtest session that's open. So please come hang out with us. Come play some highfalutin, lootin', shooting cowboys. And Jeff, what do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
So much, dude. Next game, Thursday, we are starting up another new game. We're starting up Simbaroom. You can see everyone here, with the exception of Steven, because he does not care for us. playing in that Simba Room game. Same werewolf crew. We're just starting a new game. Very excited. And come see episode 1. And then on a Friday, we are back. Aaron, what are we doing on Friday?
We're back with some Wrath and Glory, Cubicle 7's Warhammer 40K adventure. We're deep in investigating a mystery. We had our 3-man crew getting deep into this mystery, and I think we're going to have everybody back on Friday, so I should be able to kill 1 or 2 people and still have enough people to keep playing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Then after that, Saturday, Call of Cthulhu, Eternal Lies. We are getting very close to the end of our Los Angeles arc. So come see what happens. They have grown attached to a handful of NPCs. That's never a good sign because something bad's going to happen to them. And then Steven's character, Steven just doesn't like hanging out with the group. I'm just like, hey, let's go to this really cool party thing that I worked really hard on. Steven's like, nah, never mind. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And now I'm going to send an assassin after his evangelic family. So I guess that's what happens. Then Monday we'll be back to Fragged Empire, considering our crazy little space opera. And other than that, go check out the YouTube page. We just started Alien last night as we're starting up our own Building Better Worlds campaign, our colony campaign. That'll be coming up on YouTube tomorrow. So if you haven't already, go subscribe at the YouTube channel, follow over here on Twitch, all that kind of good stuff. And we always do drop stuff on an audio only podcast if that is your preference. But aside from that, let's raid someone. Let's get out of here. Is it good? We good? Okay.
We good?
Let's do some Dork Tales. Thank you, Steven. This was really fun, man. I really enjoyed this.
A lot of fun.
And follow that raid. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.